Welcome to another deep dive. This time, we're talking all about atomic habits.
Oh, this is a good one.
It is. I think a lot of people are trying to build better habits. So we're going to take a deep dive into James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. Have you read this one?
Yeah, I have. It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
Really practical.
Yeah. And I love how he kicks it off with that story about the football player
Oh, yeah.
who has like a really major setback.
Yeah, multiple facial fractures.
Yeah.
Broken nose.
Yeah, and double vision.
Yeah, I mean, how do you even come back from that?
Talk about starting from like the tiniest of tiny steps.
It really is like the perfect illustration of what he calls atomic habits,
Yeah.
just focusing on those small, achievable goals.
Yeah.
Like just walking in a straight line at first.
Right.
And gradually building back up to peak performance.
It's amazing how much small actions can make a difference.
Mm,
And it really highlights this core concept that, small improvements accumulate
right.
over time
Yeah.
to create a significant impact.
Absolutely.
And he uses this great analogy with a plane
Yeah.
taking off. Like a 1% shift
Right.
in direction
A takeoff.
can mean landing in a totally different city.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the power of compounding, right?
Right.
Just imagine like a 1% improvement
Yeah.
every single day.
Yeah.
For a year, you would be almost 38 times better by the end of it. It's crazy.
That's amazing.
And it's not about intensity. It's about consistency.
Right.
You don't have to go crazy with it. Just a little bit every day.
And I think that's so applicable to anything, not just like some grand achievement.
Exactly. It's those small everyday things that really add up over time.
So it's not about setting these like big, hairy, audacious goals.
Well, he actually argues that we should be focusing on systems, not goals.
Okay.
So like goals are the results you want to achieve,
Yeah.
but systems are the processes that will get you there.
Okay.
So like if your goal is to lose weight,
Yeah.
just setting a goal of losing 10 pounds, that's not really a system.
Right.
Right.
So like what would be the system then?
It would be like, okay, what are your eating habits?
Okay.
What's your exercise routine? Like those are your systems.
Right. Okay. So how do we actually build those systems?
Well, that's where his 4 laws of behavior change come in.
Okay.
So he says to build good habits, you need to make them obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying.
Okay.
Those are the 4.
Can we break those down a little bit? Like starting with make it obvious. I remember he had that interesting story about baby goals.
Oh, yeah.
What was that about again?
So baby goals, they instinctively peck at that red spot on their mother's beak to get food.
Right.
Well, researchers, they tricked the chicks. They used fake cardboard beaks
Oh, wow.
with red dots. And the chicks, they still pecked.
So even a fake cue
Yeah,
will trigger that automatic response.
totally.
Wow. So how do we use that?
In our own lives.
Mm-hmm.
To build better habits.
Yeah.
Well, think about it like this. Setting an alarm on your phone
Oh, yeah.
or putting your running shoes by the door, you're making it super obvious
Yeah.
when and how to start the habit.
So you're not like, oh, where are my shoes? Or what time am I supposed to?
Exactly. It's like removing the guesswork. And Clear, he actually calls this implementation intentions.
Okay.
You're basically planning when and where you're going to do it.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so make it obvious. Check. What about the next one? Make it attractive.
Ooh, this is where dopamine comes in.
Okay.
That pleasure and motivation neurotransmitter.
Yeah.
So, you know how the food industry, like the modern food industry,
Yeah,
manipulates our cravings
totally.
for salt, sugar, fat,
Uh-huh.
even though we know it's not healthy?
Right.
They figured out how to make it irresistible
Mm.
by tapping into our biology.
So they're like hijacking our reward system.
Precisely.
Okay.
But you can use a similar strategy for good habits.
Okay.
Like, for example, bundle a habit that you want to do
Yeah.
with one that you need to do.
Okay.
So like listening to your favorite podcast.
Like this one.
Exactly.
Okay.
While going for a run,
Perfect.
the activity becomes more attractive because you're getting a reward that
Yeah.
you already enjoy.
Yeah. I do that all the time. Okay. So we've got make it obvious, make it attractive. What about make it easy?
Yes, this is all about reducing friction,
Okay.
making the good habit
Yeah.
the path of least resistance.
Okay.
There's the example from the Japanese electronics manufacturers back in the 70s.
Yeah.
They redesigned workspaces
Okay.
so that workers didn't have to waste time reaching for tools, just removing those small points of friction
Right.
increase their efficiency and quality.
Wow. That reminds me of his 2-minute rule,
Yeah, yeah.
breaking down habits into like tiny manageable chunks.
Right.
So instead of saying like I'm going to write a novel, you're going to say I'm going to write for 2 minutes.
Exactly. And it's such a fantastic strategy for overcoming procrastination,
Yeah.
Because as he says, once you get started, you're more likely to continue working on the task.
It's like tricking your brain into doing it.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, I can do anything for 2 minutes.
Right, right.
And then often you just keep going.
You get in the flow.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy. Last but not least, make it satisfying.
Yes. So this is interesting because we are wired, right, to prioritize immediate gratification
Yes.
over delayed rewards.
Right.
So think about bad habits like smoking.
Okay.
It might kill you in 10 years, but it reduces your stress and eases cravings right now.
Mm.
That's why it's so hard to break, right?
Right, right. Okay, so how do we make good habits more immediately satisfying?
Well, there are a couple of techniques. One is habit tracking.
Mm.
Like, just imagine like a couple saving for a trip to Europe. They label their savings account trip to Europe,
Oh.
right? And every time they skipped eating out, they transfer $50 into it.
Oh, okay.
They linked that saving money to the tangible reward of that trip.
So they're making it more satisfying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we're getting closer to Europe.
Yeah, yeah. It's almost like giving yourself like a visual reward.
Exactly. Exactly. It's a visual reminder of the progress that you're making.
Yeah. Okay, so make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, make it satisfying. Those are the 4 laws. But how does this all tie back to who we are as people?
Well, that brings us to one of the most powerful concepts in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Your habits shape your identity, and your identity shapes your habits.
Okay. Tell me more about that. I'm intrigued.
So instead of focusing on outcomes,
Yeah.
think about the type of person you want to become.
Okay.
So let's say, you want to exercise regularly.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, I want to lose weight, try saying, I am an athlete.
Okay.
You're aligning your actions
Yeah.
with your desired self-image.
It's like you're embodying it
Precisely.
through the actions that you're taking.
Exactly. You become the type of person
Yeah.
who does those things.
And he tells a story about Laszlo Polgar, right?
Oh, yeah, the Hungarian chess teacher
Yeah.
that raised his daughters
Yeah.
to be chess prodigies.
Yeah, chess prodigies. So how does that story illustrate this?
Well, he created this environment
Okay.
where chess was just the norm.
So it was normal to be obsessed with it.
It was normal.
Yeah.
It was attractive. It was satisfying. Think about it. If all you do is play chess, study chess, and compete in chess tournaments,
Yeah.
it becomes part of who you are.
It's like your world revolves around it.
Exactly. It shapes your identity
Mm.
through your habits. So it wasn't just about, natural talent or anything. By surrounding them with chess, he kind of shaped their identities through their habits.
That's so fascinating.
Yeah.
So you're saying you can actually change your identity by changing your habits.
That's what Clear argues, yeah.
Wow, okay. But what about like the habits that just won't go away?
Uh-huh.
Those stubborn bad habits.
Oh, yeah. We all have those.
How do we get rid of them?
Well, Clear suggests kind of flipping the 4 laws on their head.
Okay.
So to break a bad habit, you want to make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying.
Okay, so the opposite of the 4 laws.
Yeah. Instead of putting your running shoes by the door, hide the TV remote.
I like that.
Make it harder to do the bad habit.
Yeah, make it harder.
Exactly. Think about it. It's way easier to grab a cookie from a jar on the counter
Right.
than it is from like a container hidden in the back of the pantry.
Oh, for sure.
You're basically increasing the effort it takes to indulge.
Yeah, you're putting obstacles in your own way.
Exactly.
I remember there was that example with John Patterson.
Oh, yeah. Who was struggling with employee theft at his
saloon,
saloon.
Yeah.
And he decided to buy the first cash registers.
Oh, right.
Back then, money was kept in an open drawer.
Yeah.
So it's pretty easy to steal.
Yeah, of course.
But with a cash register, every transaction was recorded
Right.
and locked away.
Smart.
And employee theft vanished
Wow.
almost overnight.
That's amazing. He basically made it impossible to steal.
Yeah, or at least a lot harder
A lot harder.
and a lot more risky,
Yeah.
you know.
That's a great example of how changing your environment can make a difference.
Hmm. That's what Clear calls the invisible hand of behavior change.
Okay.
You can actually design your environment
Right.
to make good habits easier
Yeah.
and bad habits harder
Okay. I like that.
to engage in.
So it's not just about willpower then.
No, not at all. It's about setting yourself up for success.
Right.
Making those good choices the easy choices.
It's like that example with the cafeteria
Oh, yeah.
at the, was it the
Massachusetts General Hospital.
Massachusetts General Hospital, right?
Yeah.
Where they wanted to get people to eat healthier. But
Yeah.
they didn't like ban all the junk food or anything.
Right.
They just kind of made it
They made these really subtle changes.
yeah, subtle
That
changes.
you didn't admire?
Yeah, like they put the bottled water closer to the cash register.
Yeah.
And they put the fruit in a more prominent place.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sales of healthy items increased by something like 25%.
It's crazy how much these little things can influence our behavior.
It really is.
Right.
So if
Yeah.
you want to eat healthier, make sure your kitchen is stocked with healthy foods.
Mm-hmm.
And those foods are easy to access.
And the unhealthy stuff is maybe not so easy.
Yeah, put it out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. You're not going to eat it if you don't see it.
Or if you want to read more, create a cozy reading nook.
Oh, I love that.
And keep your bookshelf stocked with books that actually interest you.
Yes. Design your space
Yeah.
to make those good habits more appealing.
It's about making it easy and enjoyable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Clear actually suggests having dedicated spaces for different activities.
Okay.
Like your bedroom's for sleeping,
Okay.
your desk is for working,
Yeah.
your living room is for relaxing. One space, one use.
So you're creating like mental associations with each space and the activity.
Yeah. It helps you get into the right mindset.
So if I'm trying to cut down on screen time, does that mean I need to like completely redesign my house?
No, not necessarily. It's
No.
about, small, deliberate changes.
Okay.
For example, try putting your phone in a drawer
Oh, okay.
when you're working or spending time with family.
Yeah, out of sight.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about like those cravings though?
Oh, yeah, those are tough.
How do you resist those?
Well, Clear suggests changing how you think about them.
Yep.
There's this story about a former smoker
Yeah.
who used this book called Alan Carr's Easy Way to Stop Smoking.
Okay.
And the author basically reframes every cue
Right.
associated with smoking
Okay.
and gives it a new meaning.
Okay.
So instead of seeing smoking as this, relaxing stress reliever, you see it as this addiction
Yeah.
that's controlling your life.
Okay, so you're changing your perspective
Yeah.
and making the bad habit less appealing.
Exactly. You're taking away its power.
Okay. But what if that's not enough?
Well, you can also make those bad habits more difficult.
Okay.
Like if you want to break the habit of watching too much TV,
Yeah.
try unplugging it
Oh.
after each use.
Okay.
Or putting the remote in a drawer.
Yeah.
Anything to make it less convenient.
So you're adding those extra steps to make yourself think twice.
Exactly. You're raising that, what he calls activation energy. The effort required to start the habit.
Right. Okay, so make it harder. Now, this is an interesting one. He says, make those bad habits unsatisfying.
Oh, yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, one way is with a habit contract.
A habit contract. What's that?
It's basically a written agreement
Okay.
where you outline the consequences
Right.
of not following through
Okay.
with your habit.
Okay.
You could even involve an accountability partner.
Oh, okay.
Someone to keep you honest.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way to add a cost to indulging in that bad habit.
Right. So if there's a real penalty for slipping up,
Exactly.
you're less likely to do it.
Yeah, it's about creating that immediate consequence.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Now let's shift gears a little bit
Okay.
and talk about how to make good habits more enjoyable.
Okay, yeah.
Remember that example from the study in Pakistan about hand washing?
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was so interesting.
Yeah, it's a great example.
Like hand washing seems like such a basic habit.
You think so, right?
But why was it a problem?
Well, there were a couple of things. One was access to clean water and soap was an issue,
Okay.
but also the soap they had just wasn't very enjoyable to use. So the researchers, they provided them with Safeguard soap,
Oh.
which lathered better, smelled nicer,
Okay.
and left their hands feeling, clean and refreshed.
So they basically made the act of hand washing
More appealing.
more appealing, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what were the results?
Oh, they were amazing.
Yeah.
Rates of diarrhea, pneumonia, skin infections, all
Wow.
plummeted
Just from making hand washing more enjoyable.
just from making it a more pleasant experience.
That's incredible.
And you know what's even cooler?
What's that?
Even years after the study ended,
Yeah.
hand washing rates remained high.
Because people associated it with that positive feeling.
Exactly.
Oh,
It had become a habit.
that's powerful.
Yeah, it shows how powerful it can be to make those good habits enjoyable.
So make it enjoyable. Okay, that's a great takeaway.
Mm.
But what happens when we hit that point, where the initial excitement wears off? How do we stay motivated in the long run?
Well, this is where the Goldilocks rule comes in.
Okay, remind me what that is again?
You know the fairy tale, right? Goldilocks wants her porridge to be just right.
Yeah, not too hot, not too cold.
Exactly. And Clear argues that the same principle applies to building habits.
Okay.
We experience peak motivation when we're working on tasks that are just challenging enough.
Okay.
Not too easy, not too hard.
Like finding that sweet spot.
Yeah, that sweet spot where you're engaged but not overwhelmed.
Right,
Exactly.
right. But how do you actually find that sweet spot in your own life?
Well, he suggests breaking down your goals into smaller, more manageable steps.
Okay.
And as you master each step, you gradually increase the difficulty.
Oh.
And you can also, get feedback from others.
Okay.
Just see if you're in the right zone.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need that outside perspective to help us
Yeah, to kind of calibrate.
calibrate. Yeah,
Okay. So it's about constant challenge, but in a manageable and rewarding way.
exactly.
Okay. But what about when things just feel boring?
Oh, yeah.
How do you push through those times?
Well, Clear has this kind of surprising take on boredom.
Okay.
He says the ability to handle it is essential for mastery.
Really?
Think about it. The more you practice something,
Yeah.
the more familiar it becomes,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes less exciting.
Right. The novelty wears off.
Exactly.
So you have to find enjoyment in the repetition.
Yeah, you have to embrace the process.
Okay.
There's this great story in the book about this elite weightlifting coach.
Oh, yeah.
And he said that what separates the best athletes from everyone else
Okay.
is their ability to handle the monotony
Of the daily train.
of daily training. Yeah.
They just show up and do the work.
They show up and do the work, even when it's not exciting.
Wow. That's a powerful reminder.
Yeah.
It's not always about feeling excited and motivated.
No.
Sometimes it's about discipline and consistency.
Exactly. It's about showing up.
Okay. And are there any other ways to kind of stay focused when boredom sets in?
Well, you can try focusing on the process, not the outcome.
Okay.
So, for example, if you're writing a book,
Yeah.
instead of focusing on getting published,
Right.
you focus on enjoying the writing itself.
Okay. Or if you're exercising,
Yeah.
you focus on how it feels to move your body
Mm-hmm.
and get stronger,
Right.
not just the number on the scale.
Exactly. You're finding joy in the journey itself,
Yeah.
not just the destination.
Okay, so focus on the process, not the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
You can also set small, achievable goals
Okay.
to create a sense of progress
Okay.
and reward yourself for your efforts
Okay.
to reinforce those positive associations.
Right, but remember, choose rewards that align with your overall goals.
That's important,
Yeah.
you know?
So if I'm trying to eat healthier, I should reward myself with a healthy meal, not a bag of chips.
Exactly. It's about aligning those rewards
Yeah.
with your desired identity.
And speaking of identity, that's a concept he keeps coming back to.
Mm-hmm.
How does our identity tie into all of this?
Well, remember, he argues that our habits shape our identity,
Mm-hmm.
and our identity shapes our habits.
Right. It's a feedback loop.
It's a constant feedback loop. Our
Mhm.
actions reinforce our beliefs about ourselves,
Right.
and those beliefs then influence our future actions.
Okay, so if I start exercising regularly, I might start seeing myself as a fit and healthy person,
Mm-hmm.
and that new self-image would then motivate me to
Exactly.
keep exercising.
Yeah. It's all about changing your self-perception.
So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy almost.
In a way, yeah.
If you believe you're capable of something,
Yeah,
you're more likely to achieve it.
exactly. You become what you believe.
Okay, but how do you actually go about changing your identity?
That's a great question.
It seems like such a big concept.
It is a big concept, but you can start small.
Okay.
Clear suggests starting with small wins to prove to yourself that you are capable of change.
So what kind of small wins?
Well, it could be anything, really. Like, let's say you want to be more organized.
Okay.
Start by organizing just one drawer in your desk.
Okay.
Or if you want to be more social,
Yeah.
Strike up a conversation with a stranger at the coffee shop.
Okay, I see.
It's about taking those small steps and building momentum.
So it's not about trying to change everything overnight.
No, not at all. It's a gradual process.
Okay. And I remember he also talks about the importance of your social circle.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
How does that play into it?
Well, the people we surround ourselves with have a huge influence on our behavior
Right.
and our beliefs.
Yeah.
So if you want to change your identity,
Yeah.
surround yourself with people who support that desired identity.
Okay.
Their beliefs and behaviors can influence your own.
So, like, if you want to be a healthier person,
Yeah,
hang out with people who value health and fitness.
exactly. It's all about creating that supportive environment.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's not just about changing your habits. It's about changing who you believe you are.
Right. You're changing your self-identity.
But how do you actually do that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It seems so big.
It is a big concept, but
Yeah.
Clear suggests that we should, start with small wins.
Okay.
To prove to yourself you are capable of change.
Okay.
So instead of dwelling on your weaknesses, focus on your strengths and what you want to achieve.
Okay. So focus on the positive.
Exactly.
Okay.
Highlight what you're good at and what you want to get better at.
And then it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Kind of, yeah. If you believe you're capable of something,
Yeah.
you're more likely to achieve it.
Right. Okay. So small wins. Focus on the positive.
And don't underestimate the power of your social circle.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The people we surround ourselves with have a huge influence on our behavior
They do.
and our beliefs.
Yeah.
So if you want to change your identity,
Yeah.
surround yourself with people
Yeah.
who support that desired identity. Their beliefs and behaviors can influence your own.
So if you want to be a healthier person,
Yeah,
hang out with people who value health and fitness.
exactly. You want to create that supportive environment.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've talked about changing our habits,
Mm,
changing our identity.
right.
But what about those times when we just don't feel like doing the work? You know, motivation.
Motivation's a tricky one.
Yeah, it can be so fleeting.
It really can.
So how do we deal with that lack of motivation?
Clear actually suggests that we might be giving motivation too much importance.
Okay.
The real key to building lasting habits is showing up consistently,
Even when you don't feel like it.
even when motivation is lacking.
So it's more about showing up than feeling like it.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. So how do you actually push through when you just don't feel like it?
Well, one technique is to reframe your thinking.
Okay.
So instead of, I have to go to the gym,
Yeah.
try saying, I get to train my body and improve my health. It's a subtle shift, but it can make a big difference.
You're focusing on the positive.
Exactly. You're focusing on the opportunity, not the obligation.
I like that.
And another powerful tool is habit tracking.
Oh, I love habit tracking.
It's so motivating, right?
It
To
is.
see those check marks on your calendar
Yeah.
or those numbers going up on your fitness tracker.
It's such a good feeling.
It is. It's like a visual representation of your progress.
And it reminds you that you're committed.
Exactly.
Okay. So reframe your thinking.
Hmm.
Track your progress.
Yeah, those are good ones.
But what if, even with all that, I'm still not feeling it?
Well, you can try something called temptation bundling.
Temptation bundling. Okay, I've never heard of that.
So the idea is to pair something you want to do
Yeah.
with something you need to do.
Oh, okay.
So like only allowing yourself to watch your favorite show
Okay.
while you're on the treadmill.
Okay, so you're making the less desirable thing more appealing.
Exactly. You're
Yeah.
leveraging those immediate rewards
Right.
to motivate you to do something good for yourself in the long run.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a way to work with your brain's reward system,
Okay.
not against it.
Makes sense. So reframe your thinking, crack your progress, temptation bundling,
Yeah.
anything else.
Oh, and don't forget to celebrate your successes,
Yes.
no matter how small.
Right.
Clear suggests reflecting on your progress regularly.
Okay.
Ask yourself questions like, what went well this week? Or what did I learn?
It's so important to acknowledge those wins.
It is. It helps you stay motivated and appreciate how far you've come.
Okay. But as we grow and change, our habits might need to change too.
Oh, absolutely. What works for you today might not work a year from now.
Right.
So it's crucial to stay flexible and adapt your habits as needed.
This deep dive into atomic habits has been so insightful.
I agree.
We've learned about the 4 laws, the power of identity and environment.
Mm-hmm.
We even talked about embracing boredom.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And we learned that building good habits is a journey, not a destination.
It really is.
It's about those small, consistent changes that compound over time.
And being willing to adapt along the way. You know,
It's been a truly eye-opening conversation.
it has.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
My pleasure.
We hope you've learned some valuable strategies for building better habits and achieving your goals.
Absolutely.
Remember, as James Clear says, success is the product of daily habits, not once-in-a-lifetime transformations.
So true.
So think about it. What tiny change will you implement today?
Yeah, what's one small step you can take to get started?